Jim Cramer just went on TV and said Bitcoin is dead. And if you know anything about this man's track record, that is one of the most bullish signals you can possibly get right now. This is the same person who called Bitcoin murdered, the same person who told people to sell at the bottom every single time. And every single time, the market did the exact opposite of what he predicted. But today, I do not want to talk about Jim Cramer. I want to talk about what is actually happening underneath this market right now, because there are 4 specific data points sitting in front of us that most retail investors are completely ignoring. And when you see all 4 together, the picture looks very different from what the headlines are telling you. Mastercard just launched an AI payment system with Ripple as one of its core partners. Ripple just released a brand new developer toolkit for AI agent payments on the XRP Ledger. The Bitcoin MVRV is flashing the exact same signal it flashed right before the big relief rally earlier this year. And the CME Group, one of the world's largest derivatives exchanges, just launched a crypto index futures product developed jointly with NASDAQ that includes XRP as one of only 8 assets tracked. 8 assets out of thousands of cryptocurrencies in existence. XRP is one of 8. By the end of today's video, you are going to understand exactly what each of these developments means for XRP and why the current price has almost nothing to do with what is actually being built right now. Welcome to XRP Verified, daily XRP analysis built honestly for the US investor. Subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a daily update. Let's get into it. Let me start with the signal that I think every XRP holder needs to understand right now, because it is the foundation for everything else in today's video. The Bitcoin MVRV ratio, which measures whether recent buyers are sitting on profits or losses, has just hit the same levels it hit back in February of this year. And what happened after those February levels? We saw a significant relief rally that caught most retail investors completely off guard. Now here is why this matters specifically for XRP and not just Bitcoin. When Bitcoin's MVRV hits these deeply negative levels, it signals that sellers are becoming exhausted. The people who bought in the last 30 days are underwater. The people who bought in the last 100 days are also underwater. That combination of short-term and long-term holders both being in the red at the same time has historically marked the zone where selling pressure starts to dry up and buyers begin to step back in. The MACD on Bitcoin's daily chart is also showing the same pattern. Bearish momentum is losing steam. Bears are running out of fuel. And look at what is happening in the broader market. The S&P 500 and NASDAQ RSI are both approaching oversold territory. When the stock market approaches a bottom, crypto historically follows with a recovery. Not always immediately, not always dramatically. But the correlation is real and the pattern is consistent. I am not telling you a massive rally to new all-time highs is coming tomorrow. What I am telling you is that the technical setup, MVRV, MACD, stock market RSI, and the level of fear in the market right now all point toward a relief rally being closer than most people think. And Jim Cramer telling the mainstream audience that Bitcoin is dead? That is historically one of the clearest contrarian signals this market has ever produced. Now let's talk about what just happened with Mastercard, because this is a story that connects directly to XRP, and most people missed the significance of it. Mastercard just launched a payment system specifically designed for AI agents to transact autonomously. The system allows artificial intelligence agents to make payments, execute transactions, and manage financial operations without human intervention, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the partners Mastercard chose to build this with? Coinbase, Solana, Polygon, and Ripple. Ripple is one of only 30+ partners on this launch. One of the world's largest payment networks, a company with hundreds of millions of cardholders across every country on Earth, chose Ripple and XRP infrastructure as a core component of its AI payment system. Now think about what this actually means. AI agents are not a future concept. They are being deployed right now by companies across every industry. These agents need to make payments. They need to settle transactions. They need to move money across borders instantly, at any hour, without waiting for a bank to open. They cannot use traditional banking rails. Those systems require human authorization, business hours, and days of settlement time. They need crypto rails. And specifically, they need the kind of instant, low-cost, globally accessible payment infrastructure that XRP and the XRP Ledger provide. Mastercard just validated that thesis publicly with a real product launch. And Ripple did not wait for Mastercard to build the entire infrastructure. They just launched their own piece of it simultaneously. Ripple just released a brand new developer toolkit specifically for building AI agent payment applications on the XRP Ledger. The toolkit supports autonomous AI transactions using both XRP and RLUSD, Ripple's regulated dollar stablecoin. What this means in practice: developers can now build AI agents that hold XRP wallets, make cross-border payments, settle transactions, provide liquidity, and execute financial operations entirely autonomously on the XRP Ledger. The agentic economy, where AI systems handle financial operations on behalf of businesses and individuals, is being built right now. And Ripple just handed developers the tools to build it natively on XRP infrastructure. One analyst put it well this week: the $5 trillion AI customer experience market by 2030 will run on blockchain payment rails and stablecoins rather than traditional banking. Because AI agents need 24/7 payment capability, banks cannot provide that. The XRP Ledger can. Mastercard building AI payments with Ripple. Ripple releasing AI payment developer tools. These two announcements in the same week are not a coincidence. They are two different players in the financial system arriving at the same conclusion. The infrastructure for the AI economy runs on XRP. Now let's talk about the CME and NASDAQ development, because this one is specifically about XRP's status in the institutional world, and it deserves more attention than it is getting. The CME Group, which processes trillions of dollars in derivatives volume annually, just launched crypto index futures developed jointly with NASDAQ. This product tracks the top 8 cryptocurrencies by market cap. Those 8 assets are Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, Chainlink, Cardano, and 2 others. Out of thousands of cryptocurrencies that exist, XRP is one of 8 assets that the CME and NASDAQ jointly decided are worth building a regulated futures product around. Think about what the selection criteria for that list actually is. These institutions are not picking based on hype or social media popularity. They are picking based on liquidity, regulatory clarity, institutional adoption, network utility, and long-term viability. XRP passed every one of those tests. This is the same logic that puts XRP in BlackRock conversations, in DTCC working groups, in JP Morgan settlement pilots. Institutions are not spreading their attention across hundreds of projects. They are concentrating on the handful of assets that have real infrastructure behind them. And XRP keeps appearing on every list. Let me also quickly touch on something else that happened this week that directly affects the ecosystem XRP operates in. The Genius Act, which governs stablecoins in the United States, has its implementation beginning July 18th of this year. That is the same month the Clarity Act is targeting a Senate floor vote and presidential signature. July is shaping up to be potentially the most important month in U.S. crypto regulatory history. 2 major pieces of legislation, one already signed into law and being implemented, one approaching its final vote, both moving forward simultaneously. The Genius Act implementation means RLUSD, which is already over $1 billion in market cap and growing, now operates in a fully regulated legal framework. Every bank, every institution, every fintech company in the United States can now use RLUSD, knowing exactly what the legal rules are. And once the Clarity Act passes, XRP itself gets the same treatment: full regulatory clarity, full legal permission for every institution that has been waiting on the sidelines to deploy capital into XRP at scale. Now let me give you the honest picture on timing, because this channel does not just share the good news. The price is still under pressure. June has historically been weak for XRP. Further downside toward the $1.05 support zone is possible if macro conditions deteriorate. The $1 psychological level is a risk if that support fails. Broader crypto market sentiment is at extreme fear levels. Capital that should have come into crypto this cycle went to AI stocks, gold, and the SpaceX IPO instead. Meme coins earlier in the cycle pulled significant liquidity away from quality assets like XRP. But here is what the data underneath the price is showing. XRP ETFs have seen net outflows on only 14 to 15 days out of the last 200 trading sessions. Exchange supply is at 8-year lows. Long-term holders are adding to positions during the sell-off, And institutional conviction, measured by ETF flows, CME product launches, and partnership announcements, has never been stronger. The bear market is real. The pain is real. But markets are cyclical. Every bear market in history ended, and the assets that had the strongest fundamentals at the bottom were the ones that delivered the most significant gains in the recovery. Right now, Mastercard is building with Ripple. NASDAQ and CME just listed XRP in their institutional index. The Clarity Act is weeks away. RLUSD is growing at 97% in 30 days, and the MVRV signal is flashing the same buy zone it flashed before the last major rally. The infrastructure does not care about the short-term price, and increasingly, neither does the smart money. Your full summary for today. Jim Cramer called Bitcoin dead, historically one of the strongest contrarian buy signals in crypto. Bitcoin MVRV and MACD both showing sellers are exhausted, and a relief rally is forming. S&P 500 and NASDAQ approaching oversold on RSI. Stock market bottom forming, which historically precedes crypto recovery. Mastercard launched AI agent payment system with Ripple as a core partner alongside Coinbase, Solana, and Polygon. Ripple simultaneously released a developer toolkit for AI agent payments on the XRP Ledger using XRP and RLUSD. The AI economy runs on crypto rails, and XRP is being built into its foundation. CME Group and NASDAQ launched crypto index futures tracking 8 assets. XRP is one of 8 selected out of thousands. Genius Act implementation begins July 18th. Clarity Act, targeting Senate floor vote the same month. Short-term, caution warranted. 1.05 support is critical. Long-term, every institutional signal points toward XRP being positioned for what comes after the bottom. Stay informed, stay patient. Do not let the noise make your decisions. Hit the like button if today's breakdown gave you value. Subscribe and turn on the bell for your daily XRP update. I will see you tomorrow. Stay sharp, stay patient, and as always, stay verified.